3782058 3782058.
One of the really interesting things about drivers particularly, and they do a lot of these studies in Australia where they wire people up and they get them on an auto simulator, and they say they're fine, but they can fall asleep for minutes at a time without realising that they've fallen asleep. We're not good at recognising our own signs of fatigue, and that's a huge danger potentially.
Without doubt, the worst case scenario is significant harm or the loss of a life.
In New Zealand we have our Health and Safety Act, and in 1992 stress and fatigue were introduced as a new hazard that employers are responsible for taking all reasonable steps to mitigate. But if there was an investigation and there is no policies in place and there's been no education and there's no induction when somebody takes on a role as a shift worker, well then of course the employer has not taken all reasonable steps. So that's where we come in.
The knowledge and the education is the first step in helping us manage that risk, and so often that comes down to individual choices that our staff make, and the more informed they are should hopefully allow them to make better choices.
I've always said you don't know what you don't know. So the first thing is actually telling people, what is fatigue?
Well, fatigue is a lack of awareness in lots of ways. It's you get drowsy, it's poor physical and mental alertness, really. You just lose concentration, you lose focus of what you're doing.
The signs and symptoms that the managers need to be looking out for are things like inattention to detail. Staff become apathetic with their attention to wearing the right PPE, performing tasks correctly, that sort of thing. Mood is a really big indication. If someone's feeling really grumpy or they're really short-tempered with how they interact with their colleagues or with the managers.
I think co-workers are often the people who will actually notice.
It feels good to know that we've identified the fatigue risk and that we're doing something about it.
If the employers can make this information available, then the employees will actually start changing some of their behaviours, which inadvertently means reduced absenteeism and reduced incidents, accidents, errors. People are happier, they stay in their job longer.
After the seminars are people coming up to the presenters and asking questions and seeking more information, so it's definitely hitting a chord.
So the thing is, well, what strategies can we help you to engage in the workplace so that it becomes the way you do business?
I guess as we've been on a journey to zero harm, and as we get down this journey and we do little steps and put little initiatives in place, we keep asking ourselves what next.
Being proactive has always got to be the best way to approach it rather than reactive, and unfortunately we get the phone call after an accident has happened.
FRMS had a profile there and a relationship with some existing staff that allowed us to identify and understand how we might address fatigue in the workplace. And this is the second seminar that, of a series of them. So the first one was on nutrition and the second one here was on sleep. I think we've got one to come on exercise in a few weeks' time, so yeah, it's one of 3 seminars that we're operating.